All right. Welcome to another narration of mine. Settle in for a moment. This is where the voices I carry meet the version of the truth most people avoid, and where the things we uncover tend to stay with us long after the story ends. Only the brave souls and the fearless ones stay until the end. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I don't even know where to start with this. I've never posted on Reddit before. Not like this, at least. But I think I'm actually losing my mind, and I need to tell someone, even if nobody believes me. I need to get this out. Okay. Fuck. So for context, I've always had health problems, right? Not diagnosed with something scary kind of health problems. Just weak. That's the word people liked to use. Weak. Fragile. Breakable. I was the kid that always had a nosebleed in gym class, who fainted during fire drills, the one who'd come home from school with bruises he couldn't explain, and teachers whispering to my mom like they thought something was going on at home. But nothing was going on. At least, not back then. I just never felt right. Not in my own skin. Not in my own blood. My dad, he wasn't the kind of guy who dealt with that well. He was a construction worker, worked 12-hour shifts, busted up his back before he hit 40, kept going anyway. His solution for every problem was duct tape and a six-pack. When I told him I felt dizzy, or like my bones ached, or that my chest felt tight, he'd just grunt and tell me to drink water or walk it off. He didn't get it. I don't think he wanted to get it. My mom was a little more understanding. She wasn't exactly soft, but she tried, you know? She took me to all the doctors. I swear to God, I've had more blood drawn than a junkie. They tested me for everything. Anemia, leukemia, autoimmune bullshit, Lyme disease. Nothing. Every time the results came back, the doctors just shrugged and said I was a little underweight or sensitive to stress. No answers. Just a file folder thick enough to use as a murder weapon. By the time I hit 16, I'd just accepted it. I was the weird, sick kid. I sat alone in the back of class, wore long sleeves, even in the summer, to hide the bruises, stopped trying to explain myself when I looked well or shaky. Nobody really cared. Not teachers. Not friends. Not even my dad anymore. I was just background noise in my own life. But around 6 months ago, something started changing. It wasn't normal sick anymore. It felt like something inside me was waking up. Something wrong. The first time I really noticed it, I was in the shower. Just a regular day. I'd had a headache for 3 days straight. Nothing new. But this one felt sharp, like something was poking around behind my eyes. I turned the water as hot as I could stand and stood there with my forehead against the tile, trying not to throw up. And then I saw it. The water swirling around my feet turned red. I looked down, expecting maybe a nosebleed again. But no. It was coming from my arm. A bruise had split open. Just fucking split. No cut. No injury. Just a long, dark crack under the skin that had started to leak. Not blood red either. Darker. Almost black. Like motor oil. I should have gone to the ER. That's what a normal person would have done. But I didn't. I panicked. I wrapped it in a towel, cleaned everything with bleach so my parents wouldn't see, and I just sat there, shaking, staring at that black streak running down my forearm like it was alive. The weirdest part? When the blood hit the floor, it sizzled. Not like actual fire, but this soft hiss, like something corrosive. The tile even looked a little burned where it touched. That's when I started looking for answers. Not medical ones. I'd already gone that route. I needed something else. So I went online. Not Google or WebMD or any of that. I started crawling through old forums, conspiracy boards, fringe occult blogs, weird places people don't talk about unless they're already too deep into something dark. I came across a thread on an abandoned site from like 2009. The design looked like shit. All neon fonts on black backgrounds. It was called Bloodline Bleeding, Cursed Generations. The title was cringe, but the posts were unsettling. There were people talking about marked blood, about ancient curses passed down through bloodlines, about infections that weren't viral or bacterial, but spiritual. One post caught my attention. The guy wrote, "When it starts, it's like a fever under the skin. But the blood turns dark before the soul does. The blood always turns first." That hit way too close to home. Anyway, I started asking questions in the thread. No replies. The board had been dead for years. But when I checked back the next day, someone had messaged me. No username, just a message. "Check your mother's side. Look for the black veins. Look for the marked one." I thought it was a troll. I ignored it for days, until my aunt called. Now this is the part that fucked with me the most. My mom's sister had been in and out of psych wards for most of her life. We barely talked about her. The crazy one, they used to call her, like she was just some embarrassing family secret. She was screaming on the phone. Not words at first, just sobbing and screaming. My mom was out getting groceries, so I picked up the landline, and this voice just exploded in my ear. "He's got it! He's fucking got it! You let it happen again!" I hung up. I didn't even know what to say. Later that night, my mom sat me down, told me the truth. Apparently, my great-grandfather died with black blood in his lungs. No one really knew what it was, and nobody asked questions back then. The family lived in a small mountain town. When people got sick, they buried them and moved on. That was the way it worked. But there were stories, whispers, something about a deal gone wrong in the early 1900s, something about the wrong man bleeding in the wrong place. She didn't say much more. I think she was scared to even think about it. Since that night, it's been getting worse. I wake up with dried blood in my ears. My gums bleed when I brush. And sometimes I catch myself grinding my teeth so hard they crack. Not chip, crack. I have this molar in the back that's split all the way down like a fucking canyon. And my veins, they're darker now. If I hold my arm up to the light, they look black, like thick cords under the skin, pulsing slow. Sometimes I swear I feel them moving, like there's something crawling through them, dragging itself toward my chest. Last week, I coughed up something, not blood, something solid. It looked like a clot at first, but when I poked it with a chopstick, don't judge me, I panicked. It was hard, like a tiny piece of charcoal. I wrapped it in tissue and flushed it before I could think too much about it. And the dreams. Jesus Christ, the fucking dreams. They started out vague, just heat and shadows and the sound of skin peeling. But last night, I saw something else. I was standing in the middle of the road, outside my house, naked, freezing. Everything around me was covered in ash. My mom was kneeling on the pavement, holding her stomach, and she kept whispering, "It's in you now. We gave it to you." Then I looked down at myself. There were holes in me, big ones, like something had drilled straight through muscle and bone. I could see my own ribs, and black blood, not red, was pouring out of them like fucking tar. It smelled like burning hair and copper. I woke up screaming so loud I bit my own tongue. My dad banged on the door, and I just told him I had a nightmare. He didn't say anything. I think he knows something's wrong. I think he sees it. But he won't admit it. Nobody will. It's in my chest now. The burning. I can feel it when I breathe. Like smoke in my lungs. My fingers go numb sometimes. And my eyes, they look wrong in the mirror. The whites are turning gray. No one's noticed yet. Or maybe they have, and they're just too scared to say anything. Either way, I don't think I'm going to make it. This isn't some disease. It's not cancer. It's not some weird fungus or virus. It's something older, meaner. I'm pretty sure I'm rotting from the inside out, like the blood is turning me into something else, something I won't recognize. So tonight started with me trying to act normal. My mom made dinner, stir fry, loud sizzling pan, the smell of garlic filling the whole house. I wasn't hungry. I haven't really been hungry in weeks, but I made a plate anyway, so she wouldn't stare at me with that worried squint she's been wearing lately. I sat down at the table, pushed the food around with my fork, and tried to pretend I'm not slowly becoming something that shouldn't exist in daylight. Dad was across from me, chewing like he was mad at the food. He wouldn't look at me. Not even once. He hasn't looked at me directly in days. Not since last weekend, when he caught a glimpse of the veins in my neck. when I bent over to tie my shoe. He froze up like he saw a ghost. Or worse, like he saw something he didn't want to admit lived in his house. Anyway, mid-dinner, my vision went fuzzy. Not blurry, fuzzy. Like static was crawling across my eyeballs. Every time I blinked, the room flickered like the lights were dying. I tried to play it off. I stood up, told them I wasn't feeling great, and walked toward the bathroom. I made it maybe halfway there before my knees buckled. I didn't faint this time, not fully, but I hit the wall hard enough to rattle the picture frames. My mom ran over and grabbed my shoulders, and when she touched me, her face went pale. She whispered, "Why are you so cold?" I didn't know how to answer her, because I didn't feel cold. If anything, I felt like someone had wrapped heated wires around my bones. But she pulled her hands away, like she got burned. My dad finally looked at me then. His jaw clenched. His breathing got weird. He didn't say a word, but he didn't need to. His face said everything. "I'm scared of you." I locked myself in the bathroom. That's when shit truly went off the rails. The mirror showed something that wasn't right. Not in a paranormal way. Nothing moved or shifted. The reflection was me. Kind of. But the skin around my jaw was tense, almost stretched, like whatever's under it is trying to push through. My eyes looked darker. Not the pupils, the whites. They weren't white anymore. They were this dead gray color, like old dishwater. When I leaned toward the mirror, I could see tiny, dark threads in them, squiggling like bugs crawling under the surface. Then I opened my mouth to check that tooth that cracked last week. And I froze. The inside of my cheeks, the tissue, was dark. Not bruised, just wrong. Like someone colored the inside of my mouth with charcoal dust. My gums were swollen, and this faint black fluid was pooled along the edges of one molar, like it was trying to force its way out. When I touched my jaw, something shifted. Not bone, something softer. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. I backed away from the mirror and tried not to scream. The worst part? My tongue tasted metal. Metallic and hot. Like chewing on a penny that's been sitting on a stove. And when I spit into the sink, the saliva came out nearly black. That's when I started freaking out for real. But things got worse, because when I turned off the faucet, I heard something behind the wall. A sound like breathing. Not pipes. Not the house settling. This was wet, slow, and uneven, like lungs filling on the other side of the drywall. I pressed my ear to the tile, and for a moment, just a moment, I swear, I heard a whisper. Not words, more like a tone, a low, vibrating hum that made the hairs on the back of my neck rise. I stepped back, and a second later, the breathing stopped, dead silent. I don't even know how long I stood there, staring at the wall. Eventually, I left the bathroom because I couldn't take being inside that small room with whatever that sound was. But the second I stepped into the hallway, my parents were standing there, just staring. Both of them. My dad's face was stiff, his eyes locked on mine like he was waiting for something. My mom's eyes were red from crying, but she was forcing a smile that didn't reach her face. She said, "Sweetheart, I think we should go to the hospital." And my dad didn't argue. That shook me. He always argues. He hates hospitals. But he didn't even blink, just grabbed his keys and told me to get in the car. I should have gone. I should have let them take me. But something inside me, something in my gut, told me no. Told me if I walk into a hospital like this, I'm not walking back out. I told them I needed a minute to get my shoes, went to my room, locked the door, and I watched from the window as they stood in the driveway, whispering to each other in the dark. Then my dad pulled out his phone and made a call. I have no idea who he was talking to, but I watched the way he kept glancing at the house while he spoke, the way his free hand kept tightening into a fist, the way my mom kept wringing her hands, shaking like she already knew something was going to happen tonight. And that's when it hit me. I don't think they want to take me to a hospital. I think they want to hand me over to someone. Something else happened a little bit ago. While they were still outside, I felt this stabbing pain in my stomach. A ripping pain, sharp and deep, like something inside me was tearing itself loose. I lifted my shirt. There were marks along my ribs. Not scratches, not bruises. Just these faint, dark lines, almost like veins, spreading outward from the center of my torso, branching like roots. They pulse now. Slow. Sticky. Wrong. One of them twitched under my skin while I was watching. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I'm writing this from the floor of my room, back against the door, because I don't feel safe around my own family anymore. They know something they didn't tell me. And whatever's inside me, it's not just changing. It's moving. I don't know how I'm still awake. My head feels like it's full of hot sand. And every time I blink, there's this pressure, like something inside is pushing outward, testing the boundaries of my skull. I haven't left my room since last night. I haven't even stood up much. I'm just sitting here on the floor, door locked, listening. Because the house isn't quiet anymore. Not in the normal sense. It sounds quiet if you don't pay attention. But when you sit still long enough, when your heartbeat slows down and you breathe shallow, you can hear things underneath the silence. Soft thumps, slow creaks, footsteps that pause right outside my door, even when nobody knocks. And sometimes, I swear, I hear someone whispering my name from the hallway. But when I look through the crack under the door, there's no shadow, just darkness. Something's wrong with my parents. Not in a supernatural way, not like they're possessed, more like they're keeping something from me, something huge. Around 3 a.m., I heard them talking in the kitchen. Not yelling, but the kind of tense whispering people do when they're hiding bad news. I couldn't make everything out, but I picked up pieces. He's changing faster than... We should have told him. They're coming tonight. That's the part that made my blood run cold. They're coming tonight. Who the hell is they? I leaned closer to the door, trying to hear more, but my dad suddenly said, "If he hears us, he'll run." And the second he said that, I backed away so fast, I nearly tripped over my own shoes. Run? From what? From them? From him? From me? I don't know. A few minutes later, the talking stopped. Then the house lights went off one by one, like someone was doing it deliberately, slow enough to make their footsteps impossible to track. I don't think they slept. I heard movement all night. Floorboards groaning, cabinets opening, something being dragged across the living room. At one point, I swear I heard someone crying quietly, like they were trying not to wake me. Pretty sure it was my mom. Around sunrise, the burning inside me got worse. Not the same as before. Less fiery. More electric. Like static crawling under my skin, sparking through my muscles. My hands kept twitching on their own, fingers locking into weird shapes, like I was making signs I didn't understand. At one point, my right arm straight up jerked so hard, I smacked my knuckles against the wall. When I pulled my hand back, my veins looked darker again, almost raised, like they were trying to reach the surface. The worst part? The numbness wasn't numbness anymore. It was more like something brushing from the inside, moving against the underside of my skin. Not painful, but terrifying in a way I can't explain. Like having a stranger's fingertips trace your spine from the inside out. I tried to ignore it, but every minute it grew stronger, like whatever's in me is tired of hiding and is inching closer to the surface. I don't know how long I sat like that, frozen, barely breathing, waiting for something to happen. And then came the knocking. Not on my door, on the front door. 3 slow hits. Not loud, not forceful, just deliberate. Like someone testing the house, testing us. I heard my dad open the door. He didn't ask who it was. He didn't even sound surprised. He just said, "He's still in his room." There were footsteps, multiple sets, stepping inside. Heavy, slow, confident. People who knew they didn't need permission. My mom said something I couldn't make out, and one of the strangers answered in a voice so low it barely sounded human. Not growling, just deep, tired, like someone who hadn't spoken in a long time. I got up and pressed my ear to the door. More footsteps, more whispering. Then one of them said, "Keep the lights dim. It agitates the host." the host. They weren't talking about me like I'm a person. They're talking about me like I'm something carrying a parasite, or a weapon, or a disease. I backed away from the door, heart pounding so hard my vision blurred. I grabbed the first thing I could find, an old metal desk lamp, and held it like some cheap weapon. I know it's useless, but having something in my hands made me feel less helpless. The footsteps came down the hall, slow, steady, getting closer. My dad said, "He might fight. He's scared." And then some other voice, raspy, quiet, said, "He won't fight. Not if it's already started." And that was it. That was the moment I realized they weren't here to help me. They're here to take me, to take whatever I'm turning into. I heard someone place their palm against my door. The wood creaked. My whole body stiffened. Then the same voice whispered through the door, "Open it. You can't stop what's in you." No? No goddamn way. I shoved my dresser against the door, gripping that lamp like it could save me. And I waited, breath shallow, sweating even though my whole body felt freezing. The knob turned, twice, slowly, testing it. Then it stopped, and the footsteps moved away. For now. They're in the house. They haven't left. I can hear them talking downstairs. I can hear my parents crying softly. I don't know what's happening next. I don't know how much time I have. But I know this. I can't trust anyone in this house. Not my mom. Not my dad. Not whoever the hell they brought here. Not this thing crawling through me like it owns my body. Something is coming. I can feel it. Inside and outside. I'll update when I can. If they don't get through the door first. I haven't slept in almost 2 days. I don't even know if I can sleep anymore. Every time I start drifting, something inside me twitches, or pulses, or shifts hard enough to snap me awake. It feels like my own body is turning into unfamiliar territory, like I'm living in a house where the walls move at night, and the strangers are still here, still downstairs, still waiting, still whispering to my parents like I'm some project they've been monitoring. I don't know what they are. Scientists? Cult people? Some government group? All I know is that they don't talk to me. They talk about me, like I'm a malfunctioning device they need to collect before something goes wrong. Or worse, before something goes right. Around noon, everything escalated. The floor creaked outside my room, and I instantly grabbed the metal lamp again. I was sitting on the floor with my knees pulled up, waiting for the worst. Every step made the doorknob rattle gently, like the footsteps carried vibrations strong enough to shake it. Then someone knocked. 3 precise taps. No hesitation. A calm voice said, "We need to check you. You're not safe like this." It wasn't my dad. It wasn't my mom. It was one of them. I didn't answer. I pushed my weight harder against the dresser that I'd shoved against the door. My whole body felt electric again, like someone plugged me into a socket. The man on the other side continued, "We won't hurt you, but if you wait too long, it will. It. Not you. It." I didn't know what to do. I considered yelling. I considered jumping out the window. I considered breaking the lamp into a makeshift blade. But the burning in my chest got worse. My ribs felt tighter, like something inside them was expanding. I pressed my hand against my sternum and felt this slow, rhythmic vibration, like someone drumming their fingers from the inside. I clenched my jaw to keep from screaming. That must have tipped them off, because the knocking stopped, and the lock clicked. From the outside, the door began to open, pushing the dresser inch by inch. That's when the panic really kicked in. I braced my shoulder against the dresser, pushing back with everything I had. My arms were shaking, my heartbeat hammering out of sync with itself. The burning in my torso spread outward like liquid fire. But something strange happened. I wasn't strong before, not even average. I used to get winded carrying groceries. But now, whatever is inside me, it pushed back harder, like I wasn't the only one trying to keep the door shut. The dresser slid forward a few inches, then a few more. But suddenly, it stopped, completely stuck. The guy on the other side paused. He muttered, "It's resisting. He's connected already." I wanted to scream at him to go away, but I couldn't get my mouth to work. Every muscle in my body tightened, locking up like a seizure was about to hit. The man sighed, frustrated. Then he said, "We need restraints." I heard footsteps walking away fast. Then a woman's voice whispered, "If you wait any longer, it'll spread." I didn't know what the hell that meant, and I didn't want to know. After that, everything got quiet again. Too quiet. I waited, and waited, and waited. I kept my ear to the door, listening to every little vibration. My breathing was shaky, shallow. My hands were stiff, fingers locked around the lamp so hard my knuckles started to ache. Minutes passed, or hours. I honestly can't tell anymore. Then, soft footsteps, slow this time, and lighter. It was my mom. She didn't knock. She just leaned her forehead against the door. I could hear her ragged breathing through the wood. She whispered, "Baby, let me see you. Please." Her voice cracked in the middle of "please," which made something in my chest twist. I wanted to open the door. I really did. But I couldn't trust her. Not after hearing everything last night. I said, "Who are they?" She didn't answer at first. She just sucked in a breath, like the question hurt. Then she said something I'll never forget. "They were the only ones who know what you are. Not what's wrong with you. Not what you're going through. What you are." That broke me. Hearing my own mother say that, like I'm not even human anymore. I felt my throat tighten. I asked, "What am I?" She choked on a sob. Then she whispered, "Your great-grandfather wasn't sick. He wasn't cursed. He was—" Suddenly, someone grabbed her arm and yanked her away from the door. She cried out. A man hissed, "Don't tell him anything." Their footsteps disappeared down the hall. I sat there with my heart thudding against my ribs like it was trying to escape. No answers, just more shadows. Then the shaking started. Not the house. Me. My body jerked so violently I dropped the lamp. My fingers curled in on themselves, stiff and claw-like. My spine arched without my permission. My breathing turned rapid and sharp, like I was drowning in my own lungs. It wasn't a seizure. It wasn't anxiety. It felt like something was rearranging itself under my skin. Something untangling, or waking up, or claiming space that used to be mine. The burning in my torso turned into a throbbing heat spreading outward, like veins of molten metal crawling through me. I curled up on the floor, gritting my teeth so hard my jaw clicked. I don't know how long the shaking lasted. Seconds, minutes, a lifetime. When it finally stopped, I was drenched in sweat, shaking uncontrollably and breathing like I'd run miles. But something was different. My chest felt lighter, but not in a good way. More like there was now room for something else inside me. I checked my arms. The dark veins were worse, thicker, raised, almost branching, like roots. And when I touched one, I swear to God, it pulsed under my fingertips. Now I can hear something, not from the house, not from the hallway, from inside me. A faint sound, like a heartbeat that isn't synced with mine, like breathing that isn't coming from my lungs, like another presence slowly stirring. Something alive, something that knows I'm scared, something that wants out. They're downstairs arguing again. I can hear the tension in their voices. They're talking about the window closing and extraction protocol and immediate containment. I think they're coming for me again. I think they're going to try to drag me out of this room by force. And I don't know what scares me more. Them, or the possibility that whatever's inside me might fight back without my permission. I'll update again soon, if I can. Something's changed. Something finished. I've been trying to hold off on writing this part because I knew once I put it all down, it'd be real. Not just weird symptoms or creepy whispers in the hallway. This isn't about bad blood anymore. It's about losing control of the only thing I've ever owned, my body. This morning, I think I blacked out, but not like sleep, not like fainting. I left for a while, and something else was here instead. Here's what happened. Around 4 a.m., I heard them outside my door again. They were done whispering. No more soft knocks or fake concern. They came with a purpose. I could hear gear clinking, straps, tools. something heavy being dragged. One of them said, "We do it now. He's not stable." I didn't even react. Not like before. I was calm, detached, like I was watching it from above. My body wasn't mine anymore. That's the only way I can explain it. I couldn't even feel my heartbeat, not even my breath. Just this distant humming in my ears, like a generator kicking on somewhere deep underground. The door blew open, not from force. It just gave in, like it knew it didn't matter anymore. 3 men stepped in, all in black. No uniforms, no badges, no names. The moment they saw me, they stopped. One of them muttered, "Shit. It's already at stage 3. My mom tried to stop them, swear to God. She grabbed one of their arms and begged them not to hurt me. She was crying so hard, she could barely stand. And one of the men, taller guy, shaved head, looked at her and said, "He's not your son anymore." Then they rushed me. I didn't fight, but something else did. This next part is hard to explain. I was sitting on the floor, totally motionless, when the first guy tried to grab me. The second, his hand touched my arm. He screamed, like something branded him. He yanked his hand back, and his glove was smoking. I didn't move, didn't blink, didn't speak. But my other arm, my bad one, jerked upward, fast, violent. Then something lashed out from my wrist. I don't know what it was. A vein? A tendon? Something that was part of me, but also wasn't. It wrapped around his neck like a whip and yanked him forward so hard his head snapped against the floor. He didn't get back up. The others tried to pin me down. One jabbed a syringe into my thigh, but the liquid inside never made it in. It thrusted in the tube, like something in my blood rejected it. My body convulsed, my spine arched, bones popping. Something shifted under my ribcage. I felt my ribs push out against my skin, warped, like fingers trying to claw their way out. And then I blacked out. No dreams, no sounds, just empty. When I came to, the room was silent. The floor was wet, sticky, not with blood, not red, black, like oil. There were 3 people on the floor, all of them wrong, bent in ways they shouldn't be, faces frozen mid-scream, their eyes gone, hollowed out. My dresser was split in half. One of the walls had holes in it, not from bullets, from impact. Like something inside the room tried to burst out. I looked at myself. My hands weren't bleeding, but they were dark to the wrist. Veins black, fingers twitching randomly. The nails had thickened, warped into points, and I felt full, not bloated, not sick, just inhabited. Like someone else was sitting inside my skin with me, pressed against my bones, breathing through my lungs, like it was trying them out. I made it out the window. I didn't even feel the glass cut me. Didn't stop running until my legs gave out 3 blocks down. Collapsed behind a dumpster, behind some closed auto shop. Sat there for hours, shaking. Every time someone walked by, I froze. But here's the worst part. Nobody looked at me. Not once. A guy walked his dog 10 feet away. A woman lit a cigarette and stared across the street. And it hit me. I don't think they could see me anymore. Like I'd slipped into some crack between being human and being something else. I've been hiding since. Abandoned storage unit behind a strip mall. I'm using their Wi-Fi. I haven't eaten in 3 days. Don't feel hungry. My body keeps twitching. At night, I hear things. Wet footsteps near the door. Breathing behind the metal walls. Something pacing around me in circles. And my reflection? It's wrong now. The eyes don't follow my movements. Sometimes they blink before I do. Sometimes they smile when my mouth is shut. I don't know what I am anymore, but I know I'm not alone. There's something inside me, something old, something hateful. It woke up, and now it's watching through my eyes, waiting, learning, stretching. I'm leaving town tonight. Don't know where. Doesn't matter. I just know if I stay, more people are gonna end up like those men. Or worse. But here's the part that keeps me up when I try to sleep. That voice I keep hearing in the back of my head. The one that hums when I'm angry, that whispers when I'm scared. It's mine now. I'm not trying to fight it anymore. Because I don't think I can. And maybe I don't want to. If you read this, stay away from people like me. If someone tells you they feel off, or their blood feels hot, or the light makes their skin burn, run. Don't help them. Don't talk to them. Don't pity them. We're not people anymore. We're hosts. We're doors. And something is stepping through. This is the last post I'll make. I don't trust myself with the internet anymore. I can feel it moving again. And this time, it's not going back to sleep.